Hello everyone, my name is Pixel and welcome back to my channel. Now, this video is actually going to be a bit of a redone of my review of Letter In because, well, the first time I tried, my dad came in and, he caught me off guard and I screamed, and don't get me wrong, he didn't know it would happen, and frankly, it was my fault. And I just thought it looked unprofessional. So, yeah, I'm going to be continuing that video, and hopefully nothing interrupts me this time. But yeah, here's my review of Let Her In by Too Shy Shy. And make sure to support the author. And keep in mind that I did not write this. It belongs to Too Shy Shy. And, okay, first things first, the synopsis. Night 1. Why is she standing out there? What does she want? Night 2. There's something off about her. Night 3. That's not Fluttershy. So, this story is going to be converted into nights, and it's basically a horror short fanfic that involves Applebloom and Fluttershy. Well, mostly Applebloom. Fluttershy is mentioned a few times, but yeah. But without further ado, and let me just scooch back a bit. Without further ado, Night 1. So the story starts off with Night 1, and Fluttershy is standing outside of Applebloom's bedroom window, saying that it's cold out here. And this sets up the premise for what's happening and why Fluttershy is standing outside Applebloom's bedroom window. Night 2. Fluttershy is standing outside the window again, but she has a red stain across her face. Now, a part of Applebloom wants to let Fluttershy in, but another part of Applebloom is saying, no, do not open the window. And Fluttershy tells her that it's cold, but Applebloom knows it's not cold because it's a warm spring night, unusually, to say the least. So she doesn't let her in. Night 3. Now this is where things get interesting. This one starts off with Applebloom dreaming of toys, and basically her toys from her early childhood that she got from her family. She's seen digging through a pile of toys, and she wonders what she's looking for. And she remembers an old teddy bear she had, King Paws, which was her favorite, and she loved it immensely. But one spring night, he just vanished, and Applebloom apparently was never the same after that. She didn't know what happened, so this causes her to cry, and she wakes up and sees Fluttershy staring at her through her window, clutching a old, tattered teddy bear. Oh boy, this is gonna get wild. Night 4. Applebloom asks Applejack if she could sleep in her bed because of nightmares, and Applebloom actually starts thinking about her foolhood. She recalls bright eyes peering from an open wardrobe, shadows slinging across the floor, a husky sigh whenever she was going to sleep. And of course, Applebloom doesn't think that they're memories, but just remnants of a bad dream. The next day, Applejack complains of a headache, but overall, she's fine. Night 5, applebloom is home alone, and because her family says they have to take out a delivery and they have to go to a distant relative's house, and they won't be back until the next day. And applebloom proceeds to lock all of the doors and windows. And she makes a little bed for herself on the living room couch. And she does take an old gardening hoe from the barn to use as a weapon. And she does try to get some sleep, but she's then awoken by something that at first she thinks is her imagination, but then she remembers that if she ever closed her bedroom window, and applebloom thinks that she hoped that it would have been closed on its own, or or that one of her family members left it open when they left. Applebloom then hears footsteps, and she doesn't know what to do. She decides to see what's going on, and when she gets to her bedroom, she sees that the window is open, and she sees a pony-shaped lump in her bed. And applebloom also notes that she smells something dusty and something that smells like decay, as well as having basically to her it smells like the dusty pages of an old book. Applebloom then leaves the room and hides, closing the door behind her, and basically spends the night in the barn. When her family gets back, they demand an explanation as to why she's hiding in there, and of course she makes up a story about a burglar. So they all decided to go in and investigate. They don't find any signs of a break-in though, and of course they don't find any indication of something sleeping in applebloom's bed. But there is still the lingering smell of decay. Now, applebloom actually goes up to her bedroom, and she finds that one of her dresses in her wardrobe is covered in dirt and stained with a bloody hoof print. And then applebloom proceeds to burn the dress. Alright, sorry. Wait, hold on. Night 4. Fluttershy is watching applebloom again, and she basically is sleepy to the point of madness. Like, applebloom's gotten no sleep at all, or she's barely sleeping anymore. And Fluttershy is actually holding a single piece of cloth from the dress that applebloom burnt. Applebloom thinks about the eyes and shadows that haunted her early foalhood. She also remembers hearing scratching and tapping, but at this point for applebloom, memories and nightmares have become interchangeable as of late, and she's not not fully convinced that they're not one and the same. The two stare at each other until morning comes and Fluttershy leaves. Night 7. Applejack manages to find the remains of the dress that Applebloom burnt and demands to know why she's burning her clothes. Applebloom just makes... And basically, Applebloom is also... She also finds out about Applebloom's sleeping trouble as well as having developed a sort of hostility to the real Fluttershy, because whatever who's tapping at Applebloom's window is not Fluttershy. And Applebloom just makes up excuses, a part of her hoping that her sister will send her away to a relative's house, but they don't, and Applebloom is once again locked in a staring contest with Fluttershy, or at least this creature that looks like her. She notices Fluttershy's eyes seem to be larger, and she almost looks mournful, like was denied some great conquest. Applebloom hides. Fluttershy then tells her that it's cold again, and Applebloom hides under the covers with that mournful face taking over her thoughts. Night 8. This one starts with Applebloom waking up in front of her bedroom window, because she apparently comes to the conclusion that she was sleepwalking, and the night before, and now she decides that enough is enough. She is terrified, and honestly I would be too, and who can blame her. That and Applebloom, Fluttershy comes back and they stare at each other, and Fluttershy licks her lips and smiles at Applebloom, almost like she's something sweet to eat. Like she's a caramel apple or something. Night 9. Applebloom hears her siblings talking about doctors, and they might be planning on sending her to one. Applebloom opens her window and waits for the creature. Actually, she waits for night, and then she goes to get the creature, while her family goes to bed. She then goes downstairs to get a knife and an old gas lamp. She then goes back upstairs, and she sees the creature sleeping in her bed again. She then carefully pulls herself into bed next to the creature, but it doesn't go as planned, and the creature moves slightly, and it causes Applebloom to scream. Now, this causes the two of them to leap out of bed, and this creature that looks like Fluttershy basically ends up with... It, does this thing where it twists its head and bends at an unusual angle, kind of like the Crooked Man, and it, starts arching its back and starts moving like a spider. So, yeah. This thing, nonetheless, is very creepy. And Applejack runs into the room to see what's going on, and she sees the creature tormenting her little sister, and she proceeds to throw a gas lamp at it, and then... Sorry about that. She then proceeds... And of course it sets the creature on fire, and the creepy thing is that its screaming alternates between and also forgot to mention that this creature's face at one point no longer resembles Fluttershy's, but a rather twisted mockery of her face. But yeah, it gets set on fire, and the screaming is rather disturbing. The screaming shifts between mimics of Fluttershy, like a perfect replica of her voice, and sounds that can be described as those of a tortured bird. And the last to surrender to the inferno was the light pink mane. Epilogue. Applebloom and Applejack they end up not speaking to each other for a while after what happened, and they don't speak about the event. Mostly I could come up with is that no one would believe them, and that it was too traumatizing for them to ever talk about it. And Applejack then buries the body in a secluded part of the barn, and the two of them both decide to take the secret to their graves. And Applebloom never again slept with her window open, even on warm nights. On a side note, Applebloom is able to have normal conversations with the real Fluttershy, but it did take a while it did take time for her to be able to look Fluttershy in the eyes, as well as, and she ends up shuddering when Fluttershy smiles. And on cold nights, Applebloom still hears the tapping, but she never goes to check up on it. And Applebloom still hears its voice, and it sounds very much like Fluttershy's, saying, "It's cold down here." So, yeah, this story is creepy. It basically scared me silent and scared me stiff. Whenever I hear it, and it makes me jumpy, so, yeah. That, and now, this actually has a great mystery to it, because we never fully get as to what this creature is, or why it looks like Fluttershy, or its supposed connection to Applebloom. And I actually kind of came up with this is kind of like my little takeaway of what this creature's connection to her is. This creature probably has seen Applebloom before, or at least Applebloom has encountered this creature before, because, Applebloom remembers eyes haunting her early foalhood, her teddy bear disappearing, shadows, a husky sigh tapping and scratching at her window, and as well as, so yeah, I actually think that this creature was the one who took away her teddy bear, which is possibly why her family couldn't find it, or why she couldn't find King Paws, which was a relic of her foalhood. And she obviously doesn't remember burying it, so why would, he just disappear one night and basically not. And also, the fact that King Paws disappeared on a spring night, and it's supposedly a spring night again when this story takes place, and all of that stuff with, her teddy bear disappearing before this story took place, that whatever this creature was possibly took the teddy bear, or, yeah. Now, I actually have seen some theories as to what this creature could be, and the most one that I've seen is that it's a skinwalker, because given the fact that it can basically make it, makes itself look like the crooked man, basically, where it, turns its head all the way around, and right here, it basically, and I think, of course, another conclusion of what this could be is that it's a changeling, but I don't think that changelings can basically do what this creature did. And I don't think there's any indication that this creature was feeding off of Applebloom's love. 'Cause, yeah, like, I don't think there was any indication that it could be a changeling, but then again, it could be. Or if it's... But, yeah, for me, it's probably a skinwalker, and it is... At least, I think it's probably a skinwalker, because, you know, I've seen a bit of theories as to what this creature could be. And I think the reason why it chose to look like Fluttershy is that because Fluttershy, well, it's Fluttershy, so, like, she's harmless. Like, she wouldn't hurt anyone, but... And obviously, who would deny Fluttershy anything if she's saying that it's cold? Sorry. But yeah, that's, you know, all part of the mystery as to what's going on and what this creature is and what does it want, like, because, you know, there's those questions, like, still, and you're like, what did it want? Why was it only after Applebloom? Like, did it meet Applebloom before and decide to keep on tormenting her? But yeah, like, although we may never get an answer, there's always still a way to fill in the blanks as to what this could be. So yeah, that was my review. Thank you all for watching, and support the author on this. And yes, please go and support the author, and be nice. And once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoy, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!